welcome back to the Minx28 YouTube channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. And on this episode, even though I have technically recorded another video, technically two for this week, but on this little rush surprise episode, I want to respond to the situation which has developed. And that, of course, is Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. Now, most people did not see this coming because Biden has been extremely stubborn on this topic for a very long time, probably even longer than the Democratic National Convention and whatnot would care to probably note on. There have been candidates before who have commented on his age back in 2020. And one of the things of note we really have to look at here, what could Biden have offered if he stayed in the race? The reality is he really could not have offered much. He was gone. He whether you want to admit it or not, Biden was essentially a zombie.
Child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why can't for the longest time. Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
Mr. Haney?
Doing it for the first time now in the 21st century, going into the 20th, from the 20th century going into the second quarter of the 21st century, that we'd say 12 years is enough. I think 12 years is enough going into 20, 30, 40, 50. Building of Syria, of Libya. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership and the ASEAN. There's been a little change in the arrangement of who's on the stage because of the First Lady's husband contracting COVID. But look at this room and what you see. That's right. She's fine. It's me. It's not together. The second lady, the first gentleman. How about that? God bless you.
If he was not reading from a teleprompter, it was over, okay? And under normal circumstances, yes, this would be okay. This would be fine because at the end of the day, you know, he's going to have cabinet members, you know, and other people playing the controls of what happens in the government. And this is not uncommon. This has happened before. Woodrow Wilson spent a lot of his second term with essentially his wife sort of kind of leading the way. But in this case, this is the modern world, and he would have to debate Trump. And the first debate essentially solidified the cause for him to step down. And there have been plenty of Democrats, top Democrats, who have been making this call. And as we've approached this point, many people have made the comment of, well, how can you replace him this close to the race? And in some cases, you could say, if you're discussing for people who were teetering, that likely changing would have spawned too much chaos. And that would be fair. However, the reality is, and this is something that needs to essentially be pointed out, Democrats are extremely scared. And they need something of a semblance of stability to get them going. This is why Biden won the election in 2020. And this is why there were calls for him to step down, because the Democratic Party has always played itself as the adult in the room, especially the past 20 years. The parent you don't hate, the parent, that you love, that you'll talk to first whenever you have problems, but that is still going to be your parent. That's what the Democrats are. The Republicans are the parent that gets drunk on a Tuesday night and stays up too late and wakes everyone up at 2 a.m. It's just, the dichotomy has always been, you go with the Democrats if you want the status quo with no real troubles, or you go with the Republicans if you want chaos.
Donald Trump's response to Joe Biden's historic decision to bow out of the race tonight: attack, attack, attack. Trump, who just days ago pledged to unify the country, blasting Biden as the worst president by far in the history of our nation, adding whoever the left puts up now will just be more of the same. It was just over a week ago, after the attempt on Trump's life, that Trump and Biden shared what both men described as a good, respectful chat, Biden calling his rival.
I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers.
Tonight, Trump declaring Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve. And now some of the nation's top Republicans following Trump's lead, calling on Biden to resign from office. The Trump campaign now having to shift course, though they've been preparing for weeks. Trump polling the crowd in Michigan yesterday.
So who would you like to most run against if you're us, if we want to win? Ready? Kamala Harris. Crooked Joe Biden. All right. I don't think we have to go too much further.
The Republican National Committee already out with an ad attacking Vice President Harris, though she's not yet the Democratic nominee.
Warning. The following may upset liberals who don't want voters to know the truth about Kamala Harris.
So, one of the things that I really want people to take away from this entire situation is, and you have just seen it, and Trump is very horrible at, per se, keeping the secrets. This is one of the benefits of him being who he is. The culture war thing, you're not supposed to win at. You're supposed to just use it as a boogeyman. It's the same way that Nazis used the Jews, except the Nazis actually plan to do something about the Jews. But the problem is, once you start attacking one group and actually doing it, you start to eat away at yourself and you start to have these fractures. And I believe Trump has all along been the result of one of these fractures, okay? And so as a result, you're getting this guy who you can't really control, who doesn't know how to keep the secrets tight-lipped. And he just showed him in those clips, who's the person that Republicans want running against Trump because they know it's an easy win. Yes, they hate Kamala Harris. They hate any Democrat, okay? Of course, they're going to boo Kamala Harris. As soon as he said Crooked Joe, immediately the room erupted much louder than it did when he said Kamala Harris. And that's because they know it's an easy dub. But you're not supposed to say that. Okay, and that has given the game away, and that's one of the reasons why I have been pushing for Joe Biden to resign. It's as simple as literally put against him, Trump, the person he doesn't want to face. And I get it. I do 100% get that this is going to make a lot of people not want to vote. Okay, they're going to sit there and say to themselves, the Democrats are starting to fall into chaos. First, to that I say, the Democrats have always been in chaos. They're just very good at fucking hiding it, okay? That's the reality. They're very good at hiding it. Democrats are no fucking different than Republicans. None, okay? Republicans will spit on your face and tell you to do something about it. Democrats will spit on your face, then say they're sorry, and spit on your shoes, okay? Both are insults. Both are slights. Both are attacks. At bare minimum, the Democrats are going to give you a status quo. Meanwhile, what are the Republicans going to give you?
Project 2025 has been at the center of much discourse around Donald Trump and his possible second term if he wins in November. While he's recently trying to distance himself from it, many people in his orbit have ties to the organization behind it. ABC's Catherine Valders takes a deeper look at Project 2025.
Republicans meeting in Milwaukee this week, voting on the first new Republican Party platform since 2016, enacting a list of key policies former President Donald Trump and Republicans across the country will run on.
Thank you very much.
And that platform will have been crafted and influenced in part by individuals with deep ties to another document known as Project 2025, a sweeping initiative to overhaul the federal government. Spearheaded by the conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025 is a dramatic re-envisioning of the way our democratic institutions operate. It proposes giving the president the ability to easily fire thousands of career civil servants, replacing them with Trump loyalists. It's a plan aimed at pushing a conservative agenda, including shoring up the power of the presidency by expanding presidential power and eliminating several federal agencies. And Trump has supported some of these same policies on the campaign trail.
And I will shut down the Federal Department of Education.
The proposal also calls for a reversal of the Food and Drug Administration's approval of abortion pill mifepristone. But Trump said earlier this month he does not support blocking access to it.
So yeah, Project 2025 is essentially how do we set up a right-wing fascist state while keeping the guise that this is America. People need to understand that. I get it. I do. When you say you're tired, you're struggling, this and that. And believe me, I'm someone that has such severe dislikes of this country. America is very awful right now. It is a third world country with a freaking Gucci belt. Shout out Hassan. Yes, it's not genocide in the Congo horrible. We just take the title of the richest country on earth, and no one can say no to it because we take all those riches and basically put like a fourth of it into this ungodly military that has a bunch of homeless people. That's all the military produces, is a bunch of homeless people or mentally unstable people or people with so many medical conditions that it is literally impossible for them to live a good life afterwards. It is easy for people to just give up. I do get it. It is easy to give up. You look at everything and you don't see any ounce of positive progress or change. We have been told each election for the past like freaking 10 presidential elections that this is the most consequential election of your life. But the reality is, every election is the most consequential election of your life. It is. Every single one. Because the guy you're electing, you're going to put up there, and he's going to be literally in charge of more nukes than is necessary to end life on planet Earth. He is going to be in charge of security groups and apparatuses and intelligence apparatuses that literally can overnight turn a country from a thriving social democracy to a straight up hellscape. Okay, we are electing someone, whether you want to accept it or not, can literally sign a fucking document or a paper and give out an order and send a cruise missile into a fucking wedding in the middle of Afghanistan just because there might, no confirmation, but there might be a fucking terrorist there. We are electing someone who is supposed to represent the very thinking of America. Yes, it can be defeating to constantly hear this stuff. You could say, well, the polling says Biden is behind Trump. The polling shows it's been a 50-50 race. Okay, the reality is people that were hateful and spiteful of Trump are doing one of two things. Most of them are still going to vote for, they were still going to vote for Biden. Now they're probably just going to vote for whoever the Democrats send. But they're still just going to vote straight blue. Now more than ever, is it clear to everyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Socialist, Communist, what the fuck ever. It is clear to everyone that is not in the game of politics that this is all bullshit.
Horse shit!
These two parties have been doing nothing. The Senate is the most useless thing in history. The House of Representatives is literally just a fucking frat party with a sprinkle of fucking diversity here and there. It's all fucking useless. We haven't had any significant progressive legislation in fucking forever. And every time we do get some, it gets so watered down that it is basically just another bill that gets passed that will be fucking almost irrelevant within a fucking month. Okay, Hawk Tuah has more relevancy and staying power than half of the shit that comes out of our Senate and House of Representatives.
Give him that Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing, you get me?
And those are the motherfuckers who do, if you did not know, make our fucking laws, okay? The president's job has always been literally to sit there, ensure the law is followed, okay? Ensure that the federal agencies are operating. And in times of war, command our military. That's the president's purpose. The Supreme Court ruling that happened just a few weeks ago removed that purpose, okay? And I've done a video on it. Go watch it. But the video essentially, what it boils down to is the president now has the authority to essentially be a God king. And to me, that's where this whole thing points to. We cannot let Trump get in solely because there is so much shit that could go wrong if Trump gets in the White House. As much as I feel this country is on the brink of failure, okay? As much as I feel its collapse as a superpower is inevitable within this century, I also feel there is a way to soften the blow. And I hate to come off like that fucking Apple TV show with Lee Pace. But the reality is, America as a grandstanding power is practically over. Most of the world hates us already. Our response to Israel has been god-awful, thanks Biden. Our response to the invasion in the Ukraine has been lackluster, slow at best. Our economy, despite them constantly saying it's doing extremely great and we're seeing this so-called growth, it's like, yeah, just because the rich people get richer does not mean that the economy is doing well. Most people are fucking literally struggling. Most people aren't living paycheck to paycheck. Most people aren't living debt to debt. Most people are literally just living from one problem to the goddamn next. Most kids in my generation, most people that are millennials, most Generation Alpha or Generation Z, we have no housing prospects whatsoever. We will be renters for the eternity, okay? We will have college debt just like Gen X for eternity. Gen X is about to, yes, inherit the money of the baby boomers, but the reality is most of that money is not really there anymore. Okay, so Gen X is destitute. Baby boomers are about to start dying in literal droves because Medicaid and all this other stuff and Medicare and everything has all been just so drastically defunded. Okay, Social Security is literally struggling. There is so many problems with this country that a resolution, in my opinion, is damn near to the utmost fucking impossible. We can soften the collapse. Rome did not collapse like so many other massive civilizations did, okay? Rome took centuries to collapse. Rome literally taking like some 600 to 700 years to collapse. Now, I am not saying in today's fast-paced world, America could delay its collapse the same, because that's not possible. But it can soften the collapse to the point where the country itself can emerge on the other side just with better leadership and policy making that operates on a realistic human basis. And the way we get there, the first step in that is, as unfortunate as it sounds, literally electing a Democrat. Because at the bare minimum, we can expect from them to keep a sort of status quo, a stereotypical normal in America. And that stereotypical normal right now, most of us are too busy with our own problems to get together and start some vast push for revolution and change and hold our leaders accountable. Okay, so that nightmare is not something that's a possibility. And I say nightmare solely because I do not believe right now America is per se ready for that. There's not enough people who have an understanding of how to properly implement these things. There is not enough critical thinking in America. There is not enough understanding of the concept of planting trees, knowing that you will never sit in the shade of them. There is not enough of that in America. But at the bare minimum, Democrats can give us a candidate that will give us some time to get there. I mean, we're already hanging from the edge. If we elect Trump, we let go of the edge and it's a free fall. I don't mean to be alarmist or hysterical, but I do believe that if we elect Trump, I don't think during his presidency we will have a utter collapse, but I believe if he's elected within probably 10-15 years after his presidency, it will probably be closing the door on the current chapter and entering some new chapter for America. And it's not going to be one that's pretty. It's not going to be one that's cool. It's not going to be one where you could, get off work, come home and detox and just play video games or go hang out with friends and, sit in your car talking about life and this and that. Yes, America will still have its power and authority, but most of that will be in the hands of companies. It won't be really in the hands of the U.S. government. It's going to be in the hands of companies. And we already exist in a sort of state like that now. And look at how bad shit is now. Now, just imagine every single stopgap, every single barrier gone, and those companies able to do whatever they want. You think all of this stuff is impossible. You think there's no way this could happen. More than likely, if you're thinking that, you're a millennial, Gen Z, or Gen Alpha. And let me explain something to you. Gen X is just now hitting around 50. Biden is in his fucking 80s and has still had political impact. Gen X is not even at the age yet where they start dominating the political sphere, where their version of Nancy Pelosi is speaking. We're still dealing with baby boomers. Donald Trump is a baby boomer. Okay? So even those of your parents who are progressive or forward-thinking or are saying the similar things to what I'm saying or have very left-leaning ideals, they're not going to be in power to implement those changes for probably another, in force across the country and change and alter the narrative across the country for probably another 15 years. Us millennials, most of us are starting to hit that 30 point. We've got about 30 more years before 30 to 35 more years before we hit that point. Generation fucking Alpha and Z, they literally have about another fucking 50. Okay, so this is what I mean of we need Democrats to, at the bare minimum, with this campaign choice, now that Biden has dropped out and it seems like it's going to be Harris, I don't know. I wish it was maybe Gretchen Whitmer or hell, fucking Gavin Newsom. Anyone but Harris, but it's her. And as much as I hate it, I am going to be voting for Kamala Harris. I am. I have written Bernie Sanders in the past 2 elections, but at this point I have accepted that if I want to keep us at the bare minimum hanging on the fucking ledge, we have to just go with what the Democrats put before us. Again, this is just me giving a rapid fire reaction to the situation. Nothing truly organized. Your options are a further rapid deterioration of this country and destruction of its institutions, which have been established to ensure that all of us in some way could benefit. It's not perfect. It is not perfect. It is far from perfect. But it works. This country does not get to where it is without, socialist agendas and the FDA and Department of Education and workers' rights and all this. This country does not get here. It doesn't. It does not. It fucking, I don't give a fuck what you say. If FDR did not have his New Deal fucking package, which was literally just a large ass socialist fucking package of political agenda, if that was not put in place, 100%, Hitler would have won World War motherfucking 2. America will be a fucking backwater, just a big ass backwater on a motherfucking map. That sure could probably beat Canada or fucking Mexico, but no shit, they could beat Canada or fucking Mexico. Mexico had so many political issues during that time period, during America's fucking rise, thanks to fucking America, that like there was no fucking rising up that they could truly do and cement without getting a straight fucking whiplash. Okay, and Canada was never gonna really fight or fuck with us anyways, because we literally are their economy and they are ours. Okay, it's just the reality of it. So, yeah, of course, America would have dominated its immediate fucking sphere. So, you can choose that option, which destroys all of that shit, or you can vote for maintaining what is for the future prospect of what could be. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow because it's essentially me saying, Gen X, it's over. Millennials, it's over. Generation Alpha, it's over. Generation Z, you might have a chance, but it's kind of fucking already over. That is a tough pill to swallow. It is. I used to cry about this shit, and I don't care if you laugh at that. I used to cry about that shit when I came to realize that and started expanding my political horizons shortly after I got out of fucking college. If shit's not in place by the time a generation starts hitting like 15 fucking years old, it's basically kind of set and fucking done. And that sucks. It does. It really, really, really fucking sucks. It's depressing. It's gut-wrenching. It's painful to feel because you, regardless of where you are in that generational collective, are a person and you matter. But the reality of the world today is every decision we find ourselves making now of any broad perspective does not impact us now. It doesn't. It impacts 4 generations down the line. That's just the way it is. And it sucks, but we have to get ourselves to that point. I hate to be like a broken record, but America could be the greatest country in the world. It could be. It's shown a million times the potential to be. We're not giving it the chance because so many of us are fighting the wrong fights. The reality of the matter is, they're one and the same. One just actually pulls the lever while the other holds it. That's it. But I'd rather give power to the guy that's just holding it than the guy that is happy to pull the lever. So I hope this gives you all some perspective or understanding. I know it's a little bit rambly and all over the place. I am not trying to call out any specific generations or dismiss any groups or dismiss any of your sufferings and problems that have led you to say, I'm giving up on voting. It is all 100% relevant. But you're no longer fighting for yourself. You're fighting for people who aren't here yet. And if we operated by the logic of just giving up, we'd still have slavery. We'd still be under the chains of the British monarch. Society would not have advanced the way it did if everyone had just said, well, I've struggled, I should give up. Because if that's the case, we might as well all just go back to the caves. We can't just give up because things have been hard. We can't just give up because it seems everywhere we look is chaos. You think this is chaos, but this is standard fare. I don't want to see chaos. Chaos genuinely scares me because this is the modus operandi of civil society. Chaos is what's happening in Gaza. Chaos is what's happening in places like the Congo and places like South Sudan. That's chaos. Chaos is what's happening in Haiti. We're not there yet, but we could easily go down that route. So take the opportunity. Don't give up the right to vote. Take it and use it. Because countless people chose not to give up so that way you could have that vote. Thanks for watching.